All right, we have our first major trade of the NFL draft. We're just under 6 weeks away. The first week of NFL free agency wrapping up. We get our first big trade, and it's kind of a doozy, folks. The Houston Texans sending the 23rd overall pick and pick number 232 to the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for pick number 42, 188, and a 2025 second round pick. Now, the move here is very clear. After losing quarterback Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons this week in free agency, the Vikings are acquiring the assets needed to potentially go move up and draft a new franchise quarterback in the draft. Let's just go through, break down the trade. So the 23rd overall pick actually was the Cleveland Browns pick that the Texans got in exchange for Deshaun Watson. The Texans sent their first round pick to the Arizona Cardinals last year to acquire Will Anderson at the 3rd overall pick. So they're now out of the first round. The Texans, their first pick will be the Vikings' 42nd overall pick here. But as far as value is concerned, the Vikings losing out here, but this is a trend we've seen. Texans getting about 200 extra points of draft capital according to the trade value chart. And that's like a 3rd round pick extra value they've gotten. That 2025 second round pick, I don't think was needed. I think you could have given up a 3rd or a 4th. But we've seen this trend with Vikings general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. He does not value the picks like everybody else. He's kind of reckless and wild. He has his own chart, his own way of doing things. And he gets aggressive with it, and he tends up giving up way too much as far as value is concerned when dealing with these trades of these picks. But the move here is clear. The Vikings now looking to find a replacement at quarterback for Kirk Cousins. They now own the 11th overall pick and the 23rd overall pick. They don't have a 2nd or a 3rd round pick now this year, so they're off for day 2. But with that pick value, are they going to be able to move up into the top 5 to go get one of these top quarterbacks? It's really going to get kind of hairy here. Are they going to overpay for one of these guys? And who is that guy going to be? Clearly, Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell have a plan in place. They signed Sam Darnold to a 1-year, $10 million contract as a bridge guy, and that's not good enough. We know the contract extension for all superstar, all pro, all NFL, maybe the best, I think definitely the best wide receiver in the league, Justin Jefferson, is looming, who turned down allegedly a $30 million per year contract last offseason. He said he's going to wait and see what the Vikings are going to do at quarterback. So the ultimatum has been set, and they're getting aggressive. And clearly there's a guy they like up there. We know Caleb Williams is going number 1 overall to Chicago. I would say I'm very, very confident we're going to see Jaden Daniels go number 2 to the Washington Commanders. Makes a lot of sense. The big question mark is, are you going to be able to get to 3 and draft the 3rd quarterback from the Patriots, maybe 4 with the Cardinals, or are you going to have to settle for number 5 with the Chargers? Because I think the Giants potentially looming there at number 6 could go get a quarterback. Now, as far as the trade values are concerned, the Vikings could give up 11 and 23, get to the number 4 overall pick, and it's about an even trade. They're going to have to pay a little bit extra to get to number 3, and if they do that to get to number 5, they are way overpaying for that draft pick. That pick is not that valuable, but if you're going to be able to get a franchise-level quarterback, that's the key. Now, everyone's going to talk about who the guy. There's been a lot of talk over the last 24 hours about what potentially this guy could be. I guess there were some rumblings going around. We heard Daniel Jeremiah last night, and we had Dan Orlovsky today saying it seems very clear that the Vikings guy is Drake May, quarterback out of North Carolina. But like I said, we're way early in the draft process. We don't even know if the Vikings are going to be able to move up to get that quarterback. So they're going to have to start doing their due diligence. Obviously, another guy hanging out there, JJ McCarthy. He's been linked to the Vikings a lot. The NFL is so high on JJ McCarthy. And personally, I like JJ McCarthy. I think he's a winner. Big time throws against Alabama in that game, in that Rose Bowl. Big time plays. He makes winning plays. Obviously, he's played a lot of college football. The experience helps. He's 21 years old. He's a young guy. That's the kind of guy you want. You want a young quarterback with lots of game experience. We have other guys like Michael Penix and Bo Nix who are on the older end, have a lot of experience. They have question marks, limitations, and concerns. So that could be the move there. Also, the Vikings could stay put. They feel like they're going for the San Francisco model of we're going to try and build an elite roster and plug and play a decent quarterback there. And I mean, you can't blame it. Brock Purdy and the Niners, it worked. Now, ultimately, what does that get you? It gets you a loss to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. But hey, as a Vikings fan, I think I'll take a Super Bowl appearance for now because it's been none in my lifetime and it's been a lot of close calls there. I don't mind that. You draft a guy at 11, and then at 23, you have the ability to draft a Penix or a Bo Nix there without having to trade back up into the first round on draft day when one of those guys starts to slide, because that can get really, really expensive. And when push comes to shove, our GM teams to overspend on these trades, especially when he's under a crunch. I don't need to list all the times he's done it, but it's happened a lot in just 2 years, way too much for my liking. So that could be another trajectory of approach. I also think that's being slept on. We're seeing a lot of changes going on in Los Angeles with the Chargers. They get rid of both their receivers. They're keeping their defense. Jim Harbaugh doesn't want to hand the ball. All he wants to do is hand the ball off. He doesn't want to throw the football. You have an expensive quarterback there. It's a top 7 guy, maybe top 5. Justin Herbert sitting there. Could the Vikings possibly just send picks number 11 and 23 to the Chargers for Justin Herbert? Then Harbaugh can draft McCarthy if he wants him. Herbert comes to Minnesota. You extend Justin Jefferson, and you basically upgrade at the quarterback position. Bring back a team that was 13 wins 2 years ago, a much upgraded defense with new defensive coordinator Brian Flores. We saw last year, it was just issues at quarterback. You bring in a Justin Herbert, you have all these offensive weapons, and the NFC North becomes an absolute stacked juggernaut of a division. But I don't think they'll necessarily do that. The cap situation, they want to clear out all this cap. They don't really care about the picks. They'll spend money next year for 1-year deals. And then come 2025, Vikings are going to be top 5 in available cap space. Hopefully still paying Justin Jefferson, signing their left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, flexibility there. But, I've been watching this situation closely. They seem to have a plan. So it's looking like either Drake May or JJ McCarthy for my Vikings. I'm okay with either. It's just all about what they do, what it costs, what they spend. I'm actually okay if they just take Penix at 23 and don't, draft a defensive, draft Jared Verse or Dallas Turner at 11, or you maybe get a corner or something. This team does have a lot of holes. They do need to upgrade in their depth. So first big trade of the draft season. All right, let me know what you Viking fans think in the comments below. Who's the quarterback do you want? What are we going to do? Are we going to go up and grab a guy, or are we going to stay put? Personally, like I said, I like McCarthy. I like Drake May. I'm okay with Penix at 23. I would rather get May if we're going to move up there. High risk, high reward. I think he fits in our offense really, really well. If you haven't already, drop a quick like on this video. Subscribe to the channel. We got new Vikings content throughout the week. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.